Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Particle Accelerator podcast, where we talk to future thinking business leaders about how to grow and accelerate their business. I'm here today with Kenneth. Kenneth, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Kenneth Lo. I am the co-founder of ZenBiz out of San Francisco. It's an AI consultancy. And so we help startups and small, medium-sized businesses implement AI solutions. And if they're looking for some automations to be done, I'm also out there looking for solutions either to build with them, build for them, or build, do whatever it takes.
Sure. Awesome. Cool. Well, that's great. So what was your first job?
My first job out of college, I guess. I'm not dating myself, but I've been in management consulting for a large part of my career. So I was with a big four consulting company right out of college.
Sure. So my first job, I was a paper boy. What was your real first job? Like, how'd you make your first dollar ever?
Oh, my parents had a cafe all the way in Hong Kong. And so they needed a cashier. So I was the cashier, and the first dollar was I made it off my parents. I collected an extra dollar, from the cashier machine.
You were a cashier. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So what toy or hobby did you have as a child that inspired what you do career-wise today?
I've always been into cycling. So as a little kid, I wanted to ride a bicycle just because like running wasn't fast enough. I always into little speed demon. That's what they call me. So I remember trying to learn how to ride a bicycle, and it was a pink bike because it was a little girl, a little older than me, and then they got the ribbons and the basket and all this really decked out. And she was teaching me how to ride it, and I tried to show off to her. And I remember this distinctively. I was riding so fast, I hit this building, and I got the wind knocked out of me. And I was there, and then she ran over there and said, "Ken, are you okay?" I said, "Of course I was okay. I'm just doing some push-ups."
How did that inspire what you do career-wise today?
Oh, take it till you make it. There's a lot of elements of that now. Just jokes aside, yeah, I think there's that. I think that nurtured my competitiveness from a very early point on, and then I went on to bike racing in college. I went on to master racing. For anybody who's younger, is 35 plus. Picked up 4 national championships in the USA. I also picked up 2 world championships and some records over the era.
Awesome. What was your favorite and least favorite course in college?
My favorite was actually Opera Appreciation 101. I was auditing the class, so it was like no pressure, just like really enjoying, a bunch of Italian being sung at Tana, just really, really foreign language. It was just so beautiful, just sitting there enjoying Madame Butterfly and La Traviata, all of that stuff. It was really fun. And I was a pre-med, just like a lot of, people, and organic chemistry, just kicked my butt. I think that was pretty much a screening device. So I stopped being a pre-med right after that.
Yeah. I was in college for mechanical engineering. And as I got into like calculus 3, triple integrals, and organic chemistry, I thought computer science might be a better field, right?
Right on. Yeah.
What was your most favorite course in college?
I like this primate. There was this class, this thing is under biopsychology. There was one of the electives. And then so I studied a bunch of primates, and it was Jane Goodall, right, living among the gorillas in Africa. And it was just really, wow, there's like, a lot of people call them monkeys, and they're not. We are primates. Apes are primates, gorillas are primates, chimpanzees are primates. So there was a big contribution. It's like, oh, we are primates, just like chimpanzees.
Interesting. What quote from a famous person lives in your mind rent-free?
That was Oscar Wilde. The best way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it.
Interesting. And why is that significant for you?
Well, I've always been an introvert, so to convince people, to persuade people has always been difficult. So just by throwing out that quote and saying, well, there's a playwright that has been able to live his life by that MO, and so should you.
Cool. And what was the greatest invention or discovery in the past 300 years?
Oh, oh, wow. Wow, they caught me off guard. Last 300 years. I'm not very good with my history, to be completely honest here. I think fire is pretty good.
I think that's older than
steak.
300 years.
It's older than, yeah. See, that's how bad my math is. Telephone. I mean, that's why without a telephone there wouldn't be iPhone, and that's what runs our lives.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into some of these main round questions here. What tech trend significantly impacted your industry, and how did your company respond?
Well, I have to say, AI has been around for decades, right? Turning machine and imitation games and all that stuff. It's been around forever. But, OpenAI single-handedly was able to make it to mainstream by this thing called ChatGPT, just like a year and a half ago. It seems like forever, but the generative AI has made this so accessible to the mainstream, and everyone can be using it to create poems, children books. You can write code with it. So I believe that is the biggest trendsetter.
Yeah. And how are you guys responding to that?
Well, to avoid it is there's no such thing, right? I think that it wouldn't really be a big thing in a matter of years. It would be pretty much integrated, it would be baked into every aspect of our life. That's my view on that. So don't fight it. You may as well yield to it, embrace it. So that's why I started a company helping other people adopt it and just love it.
Cool. What are 3 technology innovations you're betting on to drive your business growth?
Agents. So what I mean is, like, right now we're still at this kind of basic stage where people are kind of putting in a prompt and you're getting something back, you copy and paste it, but it's not really doing anything. If I want to, book me a ticket to LA. I'm flying in 5 days and then I want to stay in around LAX or something. You still don't do it, right? It's right now. It's just like, oh yeah, you can go to the Griffin Observatory. You can do this, and no, I want to do agents. I want to get stuff done. So by giving a command, and then the output of it will be some kind of task executed. So I'm betting on agents, and then obviously whatever is the Sora by OpenAI, which is text to video. I think that's going to change entertainment massively. Before, you're going to have a very expensive production with crew, with lighting, with post-production. All of that will be accelerated really quickly, very cost effectively. That's why, you got the strike, in Hollywood, not too long ago.
Oh, that's really cool. What are the most significant gaps between your digital ambitions and realities today?
It's so funny. So in San Francisco, in this area at least, there are Waymos. Waymos are driverless cars. So it's kind of like a taxi. They're all in white Jaguars, F-type, I think they are. And so there was a Waymo stop right in front of an entrance to a residential building. And this car was trying to back into the driveway. And the Waymo would just stop, flush. So there's nowhere, for the car to back out to. And I was on the other side in a taxi trying to come back to the office. So there was like it was a standstill. It was a 3-way standstill. And, a regular driver would have just backed out, let the car back into the driveway, and then we'll go on. But we were stuck there for 2 minutes because of this Waymo. So again, as much as I love like no traffic jam, people flying around in the sky, we're not quite there yet today.
Right. And I think that circles back to your concept of agents, right? Where we're using AI in this kind of novel utility to write things for us or handle some. But like you're saying, we really haven't gone to the place where we would ask it to do a thing for us. Waymo being like one example of where we've asked it to, drive a car for us to a specific destination, but we're seeing the inaccuracy of that, or how we're not really ready, and we probably wouldn't trust it to book our travel. But we're using it as kind of this novel utility to accelerate short form writing, like have us help us with emails or have us help us with things. And I like what you're talking about with agents there, because as we develop a prompt that really does do a thing super well, we're going to want to be able to go back and call on that. We're finding as we work on AI projects that the accuracy comes from a narrowing, and then the narrowing tends, then you look at what you've narrowed it to get to accuracy, and you're like, oh, I could have solved this the old way. So we're finding that narrowing to get to accuracy is leading us back to, oh, okay, this isn't really ready. We need to go back to like a more specific cause and effect software relationship. What are your thoughts on that?
That's really an interesting point, Benjamin. What I'm thinking about is you got this LLM. Everyone is like large language model, this and that, and people trying to do stuff that really should be deterministic. But LLM is, as word association, is not meant to be deterministic. It's a very creative poet. If you're asking a poet to do a engineering project, what you're going to expect, right? It's going to be disaster. So I am thinking that it should be a bunch of small language models doing specific stuff. It could be via like prompt engineering. It could be via fine tuning. It could be doing specific modeling. But then it's a divide and conquer kind of thing. It is a little bit of a split up, and then they're going to converge once this specific SLM or medium language models, they're going to converge back, but then they have coming from different departments or different specialties.
Yeah. I think it's a lot like when I'm in the US, I have DoorDash, I have Uber, I have all these individual apps. And then when I go to Singapore, it's like the Go app, or I forget the name of it, but it's like this one app, and it has everything. It has the come bring me food. It has the give me a ride. It has like all the things. It's kind of a mega app of very specific services that have probably been acquired or developed over time. Whereas in the US, we're still in the market's very much in the specific stage, not kind of one app to rule it all.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole different story, but I have a perspective that too, it's like, in the APAC countries, they are very used to having this unified thing. They want to go to like a department store and then get all the shopping done. You want to get some groceries, you want to get some clothes and toys and whatever, you can get it all done. But like, at least in the US, it's like, oh, I went to this boutique, I went to a specialty store, I got some olive oil here, I got some truffle from across the street, this and that. So it's more artisanal. And so I think that is reflected in the app design too. Here, oh, you can do everything in the app other than Amazon, right? I don't think it's very much like that in the US.
Interesting. Yeah, we do want the artisanal things here. That's for sure. I even have a joke with some buddies that we send. One of them is really good at collecting all the memes. And so we've now called them the artisanal memes. Like he's collecting all the perfect memes for the
Okay.
Um,
That's
what
quite
do
a
you
job.
what's the biggest challenge to maintaining a competitive edge in your industry?
Wow. That's multifaceted. So first, there is resistance still. People thinking that's going to wipe out humankind is going to be the Skynet. So you got that, that resistance right there. And then you got some people that are thinking, over relying this, oh, let's just feed that into the chatbot. It's going to solve everything for you. It's not quite the case. You got association, you got, all sort of problems. It's not an agent. It doesn't really do stuff. It's just like a consultant that give you the advisory, but it doesn't do anything for you. And then you got like people, give me the killer apps. What is the killer apps for AI? And right now we're still at an infancy of this generative AI stuff. Is not general AI. It's just, generative AI. So, we're not quite there yet. So people are still kind of scrambling, like, what can AI do for me? So we're still kind of, I think pretty early on. Now, in terms of as a practitioner, okay, say that I got an idea that might have a use case. I stumble upon the Venn diagram, the small little, overlap. You invest your time and voila, a couple of months later, Google and Microsoft and Amazon say, well, we're going to have this baked in. We're going to give this away for free because you're an enterprise customer. So you're facing the challenges from all fronts.
Yeah, totally. So how are you, how are you connecting your technology roadmap to your overall business strategy?
Yeah. So it's still to be refined. It's still to be defined, to be completely honest. So right now we're in a stage. We're doing a lot of educational content. We're doing a lot of we have a couple educational email courses. People can sign up and they can learn it. So they get the basic. And then, from there we divide, we have a couple spectrum of services. We can do it for you, the consulting agency model. We can do it with you. I just launched a online community where you can ask questions, you can be taking classes, you can be networking with founders, you can be networking with angels. So there's a way for people to kind of learn and then do it themselves with us. We can also just do a coaching call. So those are the spectrum of services that we provide so that we can serve all sort of clientele.
Yeah, that's cool. And so, what lessons have you learned from tech initiatives that failed to deliver expected value?
Wow. I think it's one giant life lesson right there. I think the biggest golden nuggets I'm walking away with isn't really about technology. It's about change management, and it's all about the human perceptions, right? If you don't win the people over, the whole life cycle, right? From stakeholders, the executive sponsors, there wouldn't be a project if you don't get the buy-in. And then you get the thing executed. You don't get adoption. You don't get the love from the end users. That's still not going to be successful. So I think as much as technologies are going to help us, it boils down to fundamentally is a human change management.
Yeah, so we've been selling agile development teams for a long time. So we've been doing really good at that, kind of an engineering team in a box. And we pretty quickly realized that if we didn't have CTO advisory, a way to and like product ownership or product management capabilities, that our ability to execute would kind of go flat. Like we'd be able to crush the mountain of work for and with the client. We could do awesome staff augmentation and manage capacity, but if we didn't have the strategy behind it, then we really couldn't help the client fully. And so now we talk about being ready for the boardroom to the code review. Like all the way through full life cycle. And some clients don't need that. They have the vision, they understand agile processes, they understand software development. But other folks, their core competency is something like medical devices, or their core competency is e-commerce. They don't really want to dig into the weeds with us on the software side. So we need to offer those what we could call bridge type roles, those change management type roles.
Perfect.
So yeah, I share that with you, that lesson learned. I have some scar tissue from that one as well.
I hope it's like a cool thing you can show at the bar. Say, hey, look at me, I'm seasoned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been beat up a few times.
Seasoned but not salty.
That's right. That's right. I like that. Seasoned, salty. How do you cultivate a culture of innovation and digital fluency within your organization?
Oh, good one. Good one. So what's funny is I never really went to hackathon ever in my life until about 7 months ago, because out of necessity, I need to be able to, find prospects. I need to find partners. So, there's no better place other than the golf course, which I don't golf. But, hackathons are pretty much, the second best thing. Yeah. And I've learned so much because you normally have at most 8 hours. Sometimes it's a shorter one. Sometimes it's the whole weekend. You don't go home. But let's say there's 8 hours. Over a span of 8 hours, you need to socialize, eyeball the people, find the right team, ideate, execute, present, and win people over. And with all the chaos, the Wi-Fi could be crapping out every 5 minutes. So there's all sort of headwind. But the coolest thing is it's just live, right? Nothing is priced for perfection other than, certain stocks, but they always get beat up. But that really cultivates, hey, we're going to roll over whatever. We're going to plow through whatever. It all's going to be okay. Even at the end of the day, you got nothing to show. You can still talk through it. You can even talk about your failures. I've done that. And so talking through the failures openly, that could itself be a very good output of a hackathon event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great. I think that there's something extremely unique about the time pressure. Also, I've been doing a lot of reading about like a 45-minute blitz or like extreme concentration, where like for 45 minutes, I'm going to focus on this task and nothing else. And then after that, I'm going to go take a break. Mm-hmm. And I've also been homeschooling, or my wife, really, I can't take much credit. I've been doing some private schooling, which is 4 days in classroom and 2 days in class and 3 days at home. Mm-hmm. So we see the impact of social media on the level of focus that our kids are capable of. And so we have to also implement some of these practices with them, like, hey, for 30 minutes, just try as hard as you can to get as much done as you can, and then you'll get a break. And I think the hackathon environment is really good at saying, hey, creativity happens best under pressure, and we're going to create that environment for you. And then I think that is a really good thing to bring back to a culture. One of our cultural aspects is that everybody has to document what they did today and what they've accomplished within that day, and everyone has to do it every day. We have internal tooling that reminds everybody, hey, how did you make today count, so that we can at least use the day as that. And kind of time pressure is important. It's kind of a reality of because otherwise work will expand to fill the space, and I don't think creativity really happens. A lot of people would have us think that creativity happens when you have plenty of time, but I think real creativity happens when you feel when you have a little bit of pressure on yourself. So that's a great. Any other good culture? That was such a good cultural nugget. Any other cultural nuggets that you have like that?
Yeah, actually, I do want to build on what we just talked about, right? So, creativity and um, professionalism. Okay, there's got an inverse or negative coefficient at least. When you're trying to build in stealth, in air quote, because you're avoiding to face the music, right? There's a popular movement built in public. It's not so much to succeed in public or trying to score some customers or the 1,000 true friends ahead of time. It's not about that, but it's a building and shipping muscles. So I went through a program called Nights and Weekends. It's by a accelerator called Build Space out in the marina. And there's before I went in, I was not very comfortable in front of camera. I never really want to record myself. I never want to build anything in public, show any progress. I'm going to practice and rehearse until it's perfect.
Mm.
That is not, that's what if you think about it, it's waterfall instead of agile. That's the opposite of agile.
Mm-hmm.
So don't delay publishing your update, build in public, face the music, face the public, because at the end, that's going to be the most valuable meta skill, life skill that you can ever have. So it's not about perfection. It's about just like putting in the reps, ship. By the time you're really ready to ship the so-called perfected thing, I mean, you will have really good, polished shipping skills.
Yeah, that is really, really, really great. That's key advice, actually, for any entrepreneur. We've been talking a lot to folks that, maybe a couple of years ago, they would have enough of an idea to go get a VC funding to participate with them. And as the interest rates have gone up, of course, that dynamic has dramatically changed. Nobody is unaware of this in our space. And so we've kind of gone back to some of the content that was around in like the earlier 2000s around bootstrapping and looked at some of the content that says, hey, why not? Like, okay, you're not ready to ship a full product. Have you put together some high fidelity wireframes? Are you talking to your ideal customer about those wireframes? Have you put together a guide that kind of shows the problem statement and the solution? Have you gotten feedback on that or sent out a survey around that? Are you talking to your audience, even though you don't have an app for them to actually go sign up for? Are you starting to engage? And so that bootstrapping and your build in public have a lot in common. I think as money is harder to find, I think we're going to have to recuperate some of those bootstrapping skills. And we're enjoying that conversation and helping people in that, just to establish their, really their go-to-market strategy before they go spend a bunch of money building their product.
Yeah. Wow. That's such a great point, Benjamin. So I was with a private equity firm as a fund of funds, VC focus. So the liquidity was great. Interest rate was low. Money was free. If you have a pose, you could raise. I'm talking about 2022, 2021. It was like easy money. If you, even you don't need to raise, you should just for the rainy days. And we're still kind of in the rainy days. There haven't been a lot of exits. There haven't been a lot of capital recycling back. So all of the LPs are strapped. They don't have additional allocation. So it boils down to, can you have your P&L? Can you actually prove your product will be adding to the society, adding values? It will survive in the open marketplace, or you just kind of like relying on capital to feed this mechanism?
Yeah, I think one of the popular VCs called it the zombie company. Are you the zombie company that just is kind of alive because you keep getting rounds of funding?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Cool. So, well, what would you recommend, or how would you share an experience with folks just starting their digital transformation journey, or just starting their entrepreneurial journey? Any advice for the newcomer?
Yeah. So I'm going to review something a little bit personal. So 3 weeks ago, I was in the OR. I had a surgery, neurosurgery, to get a tumor removed from my head. And I woke up and I said, wow, it's been great. Consultant has given me a very meaningful career. Uh, Steve Jobs wouldn't think so. Obviously, you could probably look at his commencement speech at the Stanford GSB a couple of years ago, a couple of 10 years ago. But I would like to help more people, right? And some people, they don't need a consultant. They can't afford a consultant. So I've decided to launch this online community. And a lot of it is just like, going from 0 to 1. It's not about yapping, it's about acting. So it kind of goes back to your idea. It's like, have you talked to customers? Have you proven the demand? Well, how would you do that? We should build first and people will come. No, you build, people will come. As simple as launching a couple landing pages, maybe with different copywriting. Push them out. Even put some money, put some Google ads, put some Facebook ads, see which version resonates with people. And the most important thing, the limits test is, will they pay? Will they shell out? If you have a payment, PayPal link, Venmo link, if they give you $1, give you $2 or $50 or whatever, if you can collect 3 or 5 or whatever customers, you have something on your hand.
Right.
So I know it seems a little backward, but like if you're able to prove the demand, I think then it's worth doing the high fidelity, the Figma, and then the MVPs and POCs and all of that stuff. So, so there's some couple life skills, some meta skills that I believe that you should probably have as a prerequisite to become an entrepreneur. And I would say, being able to do some copywriting.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be be able to write a novel or something like that. But like digital writing has a certain rhythm to it, right? So I went through this writing cohort called Ship 30 for 30, and it's not going to turn you into a great author because writing skills are very hard to teach, but formatting and there's certain formula you can like hook people in reading whatever you want to write. So copywriting skills, very key.
Yeah, I love that. So I'll touch on the copywriting real quick. I just uncovered, so I had worked with a marketing company and invested a lot of money into a web design refresh with the copywriting and everything, but something about it didn't sit well with me. So I started to ask my mastermind group about like, hey, and they started doing a book club on this book. I'm looking up at it, Sell Like Crazy by Sarvi Subi. And as we were in this book club, one of the mastermind members recommended Story Brand from Donald Miller. And Story Brand, I read that, listened to the audiobook, and the kind of one of the first things they say is, you're the guide, your customer is the hero, so you need to speak directly to them. And what I realized is that like most people write copy, they say we and our. They basically love to talk about themselves and express them. And in doing so, they're expressing that they're the hero and they want you to come on their journey. And just by pivoting it to make sure that you're saying you, and you're talking to the customer. Now that I see that in the internet, it's like it bounces off the page at me. Like these people getting it because they're talking about the value to me as their customer. They're talking to me. I'm the customer. They're talking to me. And now I'm the hero and they're the guide. Their product is helping me with my problems. And such a subtle shift, but so powerful. And I think folks that understand like that shift around copywriting The second thing I want to say to piggyback with your story is, my wife calls me a hobbypreneur. I don't have hobbies. I have little bitty entrepreneurial things. So a while back, I bought 2 bounce houses. And bounce houses for the kids, like, go put it in the backyard. And I
Okay.
have some teenage sons. And so I created a little business, just Facebook landing page, a Calendly link, and then Stripe integrated into Calendly. So
Amazing.
you could go to the Facebook link, you could click book now, you could schedule it and pay, and then DocuSign sends you the waiver. So you can sign the legal waiver, and then my sons go deliver it for them.
Brilliant.
And so it was like my hobby was to set up this workflow for renting out these bounce houses. And, I didn't need much technical skill. I just needed to like understand that there were these different SaaS services.
Yeah.
And I think it cost me like, it costs a little too much to run it because each of those SaaS services have a bit of a subscription fee. But I mean, Facebook's free. Calendly is can be free. So if I stay in the free tier, I'm okay. But yeah, like hobbypreneur, I think that's a great thing for people to start. Like just start with something small.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, just create the landing page for an idea, and the barrier of getting your idea out there has really reduced. Right? Like the barrier is really not that much. Just takes a little bit of time. A friend of mine says, or a quote that I've heard is, the week is for the life you have, the weekends are for the life you want.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. And that little you got the bouncy house business.
Yeah.
It may not be the end all solution, but it could evolve into I mean, like if you could stumble upon something and then you can evolve into some other businesses. So, but the fact that you risk very little and, hopefully, broke even or made a little money or lose a little bit of money, there's not a lot of skin off your back.
Yeah. Well, my goal was to have a bounce house that I could set up for my kid's birthday. Right. So, and I have some family, some friends, some other families. I wanted to have those bounce houses for them, but yeah, I did want to recover my cost. So now I've recovered my bounce house cost. So I own bounce houses that are now free to me, and now my friends and I can use these bounce houses really for the cost of gasoline and giving my teenage sons a little bit of spending money.
Oh man! So all the joy that your kids are getting, it has an infinite return. You already getting an infinite return.
That's right. That's right.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you spending time with us today. If people like what you've had to share today, how should they connect with you?
Yes. So my LinkedIn link is kennethlome. KENNETHLOME.
Okay. And I'll make sure that's in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody's interested into the paid community that just launched, it's called Unyeti. So it's UNYETI.com.
Sweet. That's awesome. I'm excited to check that out. Cool. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience?
No, this is, thank you so much. Again, thank you for having me. And I just want to have a little, PSA out there. Your friends, your families may be struggling a little bit. They may be dealing with some health issues. They may be dealing with some whatever challenges. I'll say like reach out to at least one person today, because you just don't know what kind of difference you're gonna make. So if you can make 0.5% difference to one person in your circle, I think the world is going to be a better place.
Good. And I'm glad your health issues are at least resolved for now. I'm glad you're okay up to this point. So
yeah, I'm kicking. I'm not a ghost, Benjamin. I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're glad that procedure was successful, and appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you so very much, Benjamin.